What's up, guys? It's G here, and welcome back to the Grizzly Life podcast. In the last episode, Colton shared ways on how to mentally win each and every day, but today we're diving into goal setting, how to stay focused, motivated, and turn those goals into lasting habits for a more positive life. Colton and Chase will also be sharing their personal goals and how they keep pushing towards them. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications. Now let's get into episode 7 of the Grizzly Life podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Chase here today. We've got Garrett behind the producer chair, man in the helm, and we've got Colton here with us today. If you missed last episode, we went on some of our self-affirmations or mental frameworks that we go through as a team here at Grizzly. And to really start to build upon those today, we're going to focus a little bit on how do you truly get somewhat 1% better. And Colton will kind of talk on it here as well today, just how do you set goals, or how do you build upon those goals you set out for yourself? So Colton, I'm going to throw it over to you. We're going to start talking about goal setting and what that means to you.
Hey guys, I appreciate you joining us for episode 7 of many. Yes, today our main topic is going to be goal setting and kind of our way of going about that. I think it's something that we kind of change each and every year. You know, hey, we want to try it this way or that way. Everybody knows how New Year's resolutions go and how difficult it can be to stick with your goals and that kind of stuff. But as of recent, we've kind of changed up some stuff and we've kind of got some fresh ideas. Some good ways to kind of stay focused, stay motivated, chop it up in short bits of time and that kind of stuff. So we just kind of wanted to share that with you today. Today's episode probably is not going to be another long one. It's going to be just a back and forth conversation between me and Chase. Again, going over goal setting and that kind of stuff. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into that. So the first thing that I would like to review, we're going to start with kind of like New Year's resolutions, because I feel like that's where everybody's goals kind of originate from. Everybody's motivated. Everybody thinks, you know, January 1 is going to change your life and we're going to have these new great ideas and we're going to accomplish so much. So, you know, New Year's resolutions are great if you stick to them. And I don't know the statistic on average, but people, you know, fall off extremely quick, right? 1 week, 2 week, the month of January. You know, people try to go dry January, maybe a crazy weight loss goal, maybe, you know, whatever it is. There's New Year's resolution goals are typically, they die off rather quickly. So I'm just going to kind of explain what I tried to do this year as a different approach. And then if Chase has got anything to say, he's going to kind of pitch in here as well. But this year with my team, with our staff, and what I tried to do with every individual, everybody that I could meet with, we looked at it a little bit differently. So in the beginning of the year, and I did this personally as well, but in the beginning of the year, we sat down and wrote down our fitness goals. Our, you know, and fitness includes like diet and exercise. And then we also wrote down our financial goals. So if there's anything we wanted to accomplish this year, whether that means like, hey, I'd like to make more money, I'd like to save more money, I'd like to invest more money, whatever that is. Then we also wrote down our business goals, anything that we wanted to improve on within the company, maybe a new skill that we wanted to achieve and that kind of stuff. Then we also did our personal goals. Personal goals are kind of like those habits that you personally want to work on that aren't necessarily fitness. You know, this might be reading more often. This might be keeping a cleaner car, doing the dishes more often, taking the garbage out, whatever personal things that you want to accomplish around the house and your life, whatever, some new habits you'd like to set. So we break it out into like those 4 categories. And, you know, I just let the individuals talk. Whatever they want to do, I kind of help reframe them and bring them a little bit more, you know, accurate, right? We try to set, you know, we try to set a time frame, right? We've got a year and we want to accomplish this specific goal. You know, a lot of people say, I want to read more this year. I was like, what does that mean? Do I want to read 12 books? Do I want to read 5? You know, setting specifics, you know, the whole SMART goals outline, having some specifics to your goal setting is a good thing. So anyways, we break it out into those 4 categories and we say what we want to accomplish in a year's time. This year, we took a little bit different approach and we did that, but then we also added in what I was calling a 30-day sprint. The 30-day sprint are micro goals that help you achieve the goals at the end of the year. And I'm sure some of my team is going to listen to this. My intentions were to do this once a month with the individual if possible. So January 1, we'd set our entire year's goals. And then January 1, we'd also have a game plan for the next 30 days and what we need to accomplish to get to those goals. That being said, I have personally not been able to meet with everybody that I set those 30-day goals with, but I did do I tried to connect with them on it as I could here and there. But the point of the 30-day sprint is to just keep micro goals and things that are attainable, because you set these large goals in the beginning of the year, and then you just kind of let them eat you up. You get behind. You forgot you're supposed to read. You forgot you're supposed to do your push-ups, your pull-ups, your 1 mile a day, whatever it was, and now you feel like there's no point of getting back to that goal, and it just kind of falls to the side. So the 30-day sprint is supposed to allow you to help attain those goals. You're supposed to reset them every month. If you want to keep a cleaner car, maybe your 30-day sprint goal is, I want to clean my car once a week for the month of January. Build on that habit. Maybe I want to read 12 books this year, so my 30-day sprint goal is to read 1 book this month or this 30-day time frame. So that's kind of the approach I take. I think that's a good way to go about it. I think it makes your goals easier to attain and truly be able to attack them. So that's kind of the little hack I worked on this year. Me and Chase are going to kind of go back and forth now, but that's kind of the new, in quotations, framework, since that's my favorite word right now. That's the new framework that we're trying to work on, is our 1-year goals, our 30-day sprint goals, and how to achieve our goals just kind of over a period of time like that. So what do you got?
For myself, so before the year actually started, and kind of like you said, we lay out a lot of whatever your resolutions are, whatever the new you is going to be. I actually ended up reading Atomic Habits. I know it's been a bigger book now for the last couple of years, ever since it came out. And you'll read books. I was reading like a textbook style book that recently came out, and they referred to Atomic Habits. It was a fitness book, and they said, as far as consistency, like how to make the gym easier, he referred back to Atomic Habits, and he just said, go to that book. Like, it tells you everything you need to know. And within Atomic Habits, probably the biggest thing I got away from it was kind of the habit stacking, like the pre-planning, just because the you right now that's like actually ambitious and like wants to do these things and has the big plans, whether that's in the gym or it's at home or it's kind of like you said, like the reading the book goal, doing push-ups. Take advantage of the fact that you are in that headspace where you want to do it and take care of it. So take the 5 minutes a day before, if you're setting the clothes out for the gym. One that was more so for me is like, I want to be better at essentially meal prepping and just having food ready, because it's so easy just to obviously say, wow, whatever, I'll just fork it out at the gas station for that matter. So a big thing for me was like kind of taking the Sundays to, like you mentioned, cleaning your car out, getting kind of my bag ready for the week, having basically the clothes picked out for the gym that morning, instead of kind of rummaging around the morning of, just given we have an earlier schedule of things, having food ready for the week. So then again, I just grab it, go, still simple and convenient, and then just stacking those things up. So in our case, where a lot of us are trying to read a lot of books this year, having almost your days pre-planned, so it's not just I'll read when I have free time, because it's easy to just fall back on your laurels and kind of hope that you just have free time. It's like, oh, I got 15 minutes, like I'll read at that time, and then you pull out your phone and it's easy to skip it. So being better at my schedule has been another one of those things that's kind of helped not only pre-plan and take advantage of preparing for the week on Sunday, but if I'm going to read, like I have to set a dedicated time to read. If it's an hour, like you said, if it's 15 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, just the consistent habit of it. Because we have very ambitious book goals this year. Did you set out, some of the goals I have, and I kind of want to touch on it later here, like the wildly ambitious goals. Like I want to read 50 books this year, and I want to read the 50 books. I want to run a marathon. Like there's all a lot of crazy ones out there. But what did you have yourself this year as far as book goals and stuff along those lines, kind of like the big overarching goals?
I think my book goal was 20 or 25 this year, but I'm already
You're at like
I'm already
15 this year, if not more, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm averaging like 1 to 2 books a week right now, so I'm going to surpass that. I mean, so at this point my goal is probably more like 60 to 70 books. But yeah, I wouldn't even mind kind of going over kind of some of the goals that I set and kind of where, how I'm heading there too, and I wouldn't mind hearing some of yours as well. But, we've got these reading goals, and that's something, and kind of the reason we're talking about this goal setting is Tuesday's episode, right, was being 1% better, leading by example, being the best you, and just winning every day, right? Like those are kind of our goals here at the Grizzly Life, Grizzly Fitness, Priority Fitness. We're trying to become the best versions of ourselves, and we want our people to be the best versions of themselves too. Hence why we're in the fitness industry and we're trying to, help people, right? So some of the things that I set out to do this year, personal goals, I want to read a bunch, and I'm already excelling at that goal, and I should have picked a better number, but I guess this year I'm better. I'm just reading a lot more. So reading at least 25 books this year, which it's probably more going to be like 60 books this year, is kind of goal one. Another goal that I had in mind was, of course, like a body weight goal. I'm currently on the carnivore diet. I eat a lot of meat. I was eating a high protein diet before, so that's what I've been doing. I want to continue doing that and just seeing how it goes. I'm not one that preaches you have to do the carnivore diet. I'm not one of those guys. I don't care what diet you do as long as you stick to it and you stay strong and you follow through. So this is by no means am I preaching the carnivore diet. Do what you want. Reach out to me if you have questions on the carnivore, but that's my 2 cents there. Another one of my goals, actually this one is kind of interesting, but going off what Chase just said earlier, the easiest thing for us to do is to not meal prep, go out and buy, Quick Trip for lunch, Subway for lunch, Culver's for lunch, whatever. Obviously, being on the carnivore diet, it's a little bit harder. It's a very strict, harsh diet as far as what you can and can't eat. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? Meat, eggs, salt, water. So I set out at the beginning of the year that I only had 2 opportunities a month to buy like convenience food. So I was not allowed to go to a gas station to buy a beef stick or eggs or whatever I needed, or I couldn't just order food from the local diner or whatever to suffice. So my goal was basically meal prep very hard and limit my ability to shop locally for food every day, because working in the office and stuff, it's easy to do that. My goal was less than 2 times a week. That being said, the first time I bought gas station food was actually our weekend trip here in Minnesota. I got 6 hard-boiled eggs, and that's the only time I've actually gone to a gas station to buy food this year. The only exclusion to this one is that I'm allowed to buy coffee from gas stations, so I still buy morning coffees and that kind of stuff. But so yeah, those were kind of 3 of my big goals that I wanted to work on this year. There's a bunch of other little things like reduce phone time before you go to bed or blue light glasses and that kind of stuff, but I don't need to dive into all of that. Once a lot of these goals become habits, you don't really need to talk about it anymore. It just becomes a way of life, right? Reading. I've got a goal to read a bunch of books, but it's like now I read all the time. I don't think next year I have to set a goal for book reading. It's just like it's going to be a habit. Same thing with buying food at the gas station. Same thing with getting your daily steps in. Once these things become habits and you've done them long enough, you don't have to talk about them next year for a goal. It's just like it's a habit. You do them, So that's kind of our goal. That's the reason you do these New Year's resolutions, to lose weight. But once you get in a habit of losing weight, you want to work out. You're going to stay healthy. Like that's the goal. So anyways, kind of rambling there. There's 3 or 4 of the things that I'm doing this year. I'm working on them every day, but I'll kick it back over to Chase. What do you got?
This year specifically, kind of your point as well, the book reading. Last year I had some that I knocked out really well, but now it is more just a matter of making a thing at the end of the day or making a thing that I do during cardio. I think it's hard to do cardio if you're not doing anything, and I think it's hard to read and just vouch that I'm just sitting there for an hour. So I think it makes both of them a hell of a lot better to do them together. Also, the marathon side of things, I didn't come into the year thinking that'd be a goal of mine, but goals I've always made for the gym have always revolved around, like, say, I'm going to squat more this year, I'm going to bench more this year, and like I know how to do the math for that, and it makes sense. And kind of like to the point you made, like once it's a habit, in theory, it's just going to happen naturally. So this year with the marathon, I haven't really ran like that to that degree for those volumes basically since high school. So it actually challenges me and forced me to think, okay, I have to rewrite everything I do now because I'm not going to kill my body with 6 resistance workouts and then 5 days running in a week.
How many miles have you ran once in general? You say high school. How many miles have you ran in a row? I mean, a marathon's 26.2. So how many miles have we done before?
Prior to that, like the most I ever did was probably during COVID in like single intervals, was like 5 miles at a time.
That's a big goal.
It is a big goal. So it's helped a lot with, because obviously working with clients, when it gets hard, like music helps, obviously, but when it does get like genuinely hard and like my calves start to like cramp up and it just hurts like hell, I just think about like, well, my clients really wouldn't let me off with a break. So then like different names and like the people that really like give me a hard time, they start going through my head. I'm like, yeah, shit, they wouldn't let me off going off a minute early. So those are the things that kind of help me going with it. Obviously, that's intangible, if you will. Like it's one of those things that it's just one of the things, as all these goals are hard, that you're likely going to set for yourself. And realistically, if your goals aren't hard, I don't know if it's that good of a goal to begin with. Kind of going back to that SMART goal point you made.
Right.
But for me, it's one of those wildly unachievable goals. I know we set some for business, basically just for us to really strive for something crazy. But realistically, between diet and a marathon, those are probably two of like the biggest possible goals I could set for myself. Because if you asked me even a year ago, I probably said there's no way in hell I could do either of those things. So I set them mostly for that reason. Like if I finish a marathon, like I'll be myself sitting here now would be ungodly impressed.
Yeah, when I set big goals, whether it's business or personal, I'm the goal setter where I'd, rather, whatever the saying is, shoot for the moon and land on the stars, or shoot for the stars and land on the moon, right? Like, I'd rather shoot something like, I want a 6-pack by the end of the year. Like, it's probably not going to happen, right? But like, I'll be happy with a 4-pack, right? Or like, I'd be happy just losing body fat in general. So like, if you set a goal to run a marathon, I think you should do it. But hey, my goal is to run a marathon, and I ran a half marathon. Whatever. Like setting a large goal gets you in the right mindset, motivates you, and I like kind of taking that approach. But something else too that I want to touch base on with goal setting, a lot of people, something good to think about is like the vacations you want to take on a yearly basis. It's hard once you get in the course of work. You just start working, and you're like, well, maybe next weekend I'll take off. Maybe next weekend. I'm saying this from like a business owner, but also as a employee, as just anybody out there. I mean, it's good to think about at least a couple trips or things that you want to accomplish this year with your goal setting as well. Places you want to see, places you want to go, maybe just a little basic trip here or there, whatever it is. This weekend, I want to do this. It doesn't even be like PTO or time off, but thinking about, I want to go to 3 Brewer games this year. I want to make it to 1 Packer game this year. Like setting goals like that are also important too. Adventures you want to do, places you want to see. I would like to go to Devil's Lake twice this year. I'd like to go hiking at Devil's Lake twice this year, right? Or I'd like to go to the Wisconsin Dells and go swimming or whatever, right? Like thinking about those things and just having a rough target of some places you want to go and see and do this year are good things to consider when you're doing this as well. Once you start kind of getting going, and all of a sudden it's March, and then it's April, it's harder to sometimes, hey, I need to take off. It's just difficult. You should be thinking about that stuff ahead of time as well. So another point that I'd like to bring up in kind of this whole goal setting in the last episode, something we strive for here in our organization and our day-to-day life is a positive attitude and a good outlook at life, and just like, it could always be worse, right? Having a positive attitude is good. So something we do with our team meetings is when I sit down with our Grizzly staff or our priority staff, the first thing we do is we do our team, we do our individual wins, right? And so everybody's got to do a personal win and a business win. For example, maybe Chase ran 5 miles this week, which is good because that's working towards his marathon goal. And his business win was he signed up 5 new members today at the Grizzly Fitness Watoma Gym, right? Like, we're just trying to get in the right mindset, the right attitude. Even if there's small wins, they're good wins, right? You need to think about the positives every day. So the reason I'm bringing this up is something that I'm trying to do, and a little thing that I actually just started doing this week was in my Google Calendar, because that's how I schedule my day-to-day stuff, is I made a little job from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day of the week. That's called daily wins. And as I do stuff throughout the day that makes me 1% better, I go into my daily wins job and I write what I did that made me a little bit better today. I completed a workout. I went for a walk. I got that form done. I got that new system I worked on. Whatever it is that I did today that improved, maybe I had a meeting with somebody it was very important, and it was a meeting I've been pushing off, right? Like, I'm trying to track my 5 or 10 little wins every day And it's more for me to look back on the day and be like, today was a good day. I got a lot done. I accomplished things small and large, and I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm moving in the right direction. So, again, the reason I'm saying this is to have a good attitude and to be a positive person and to look at the good things, the brighter side. It could always be worse. At the end of the day, think about what you're grateful for or what went well today, right? Or the positive affirmations, that kind of stuff. Like the daily wins is so easy. Even if it was only one or two things, get your mindset thinking about what went well today and not what went wrong. It's easy to go home. It's easy to talk to your spouse, your family, your siblings, your friend. It's easy to call somebody on the way home and complain about the day. What went wrong? Why this and that? It's like, well, I bet you only had one or two things that really irritated you today or went wrong. But what about the 3 or 4 other things that like went right? Let's talk about those and let's change that conversation. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? So I think that would be another little tip. I could have talked about it last episode. Sorry for talking more about it this episode, but I think that's a really good thing too. And those daily wins might be directly involved with those 30-day sprint goals or those 1-year goals. So keep that in mind. Do you have anything you want to chime in on there?
I think I've never looked at it that way. Like at the end of the day, just having more of the self-reflection and just kind of the self-journal of, okay, these are all the things I actually accomplished today. If you want to look from the flip side, just if you're asking the question of, well, how do I put myself in a position to have daily wins during the day to make it that much easier at the end of the day to reflect on what I did do well? At the start of the day, like, don't prepare yourself to fail. Like, prepare, obviously, to get those things out of the way. Something that we've both started doing, and I think even a lot of people on the team have started doing, is having those checklists at the start of the day, just the actionable items or like a little power list, a little fire list for the day of, if I got these 5 things done and nothing else, like I would still feel super accomplished for today. So in my case, kind of like you mentioned, it might be as simple as, okay, I have to create this form for the day that we need for this new framework or this new system. I have to cancel this thing that we had signed up for. I have to watch this video that we have for training. If you can get those little small things done, again, they seem like minute in the grand scheme of things. And it's like, well, I'm going to get them done regardless, but write it down, have it physically in front of you during the day, whether that's your phone background, if it's a sticky note on your computer, if it's physically written down on a notepad, have those things in front of you and physically cross them off as you go through it. And I think it makes it that much easier to think, okay, these are my actual items. Like, so for the 4 real hours of today that I have work and it's like my own leisure time to knock out my projects, these are the things I'm going to do today. I think it does make it that much easier when you're clocking out. If it's 5 in the afternoon, you're like, crap, I actually got a lot done today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's very easy. Again, like that's a very good way to figure out your day, figure out your week, and that's something I've been doing. I try on Sundays or Monday mornings. Any of the meetings I need to have during the week, whether it's team or individual, systems I need to talk about, think about, work on, things that I need to plan or help the other team, our teams with. Like I try to get all that stuff on the calendar Sunday or Monday so I can kind of see where my open slots are and what other things I can fill my time with. And so that's very good. And going back to the positive attitude aspect of it as well, is you can look at the end of the day and say, wow, I did get the things done I needed to, or I got 3 of the 4 done. Like it's still a winning day. It's not that you didn't, you didn't fail, right? So thinking about that at the end of the day is good. It's very easy. Again, going off of like that emotion versus logic kind of conversation I had about last episode as well, is like it's super easy to get hung up on the little things, and it's super easy to be annoyed, irritated, pissed off, whatever terminology you want to use, again, about that 1 or 2 or 3 things that went wrong today. It was probably something that took 30 seconds that really irritated you, but us humans like the emotion aspect, and we like to constantly think about, oh, that really irritated me, and you want to tell everybody how much that irritated you, and that's fine. You have to vent, you have to talk about things. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm just saying weigh the good with the bad. Was it a good day? Was it a bad day? Did I accomplish what I needed to get done? Is there things I need to do tomorrow? Like what else can I take on, or what do I need to worry about again rest of the week? So trying to keep a more positive attitude and pat yourself on the back sometimes. We all do a lot of good things on a daily basis. Let's set some good goals. Let's work on them together and let's accomplish some stuff. I think that's kind of the moral of the story here. The New Year's resolutions, don't last very long because we're not following up with them. We're not worried about them. We're not thinking about them day to day. Or you're drinking on New Year's Eve and you're thinking, well, this is going to be a damn good goal tomorrow. I can't wait to set that, right? And then, you're sober up and you're like, oh, it's probably not a very good goal, right? So that's probably how a lot of New Year's resolution goals are set as well. But yeah, I think that kind of gives us a pretty good. Is there any other one-off topics that we're forgetting about, or does that kind of give us a good wrap on the goal setting? Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I think as we go and in future episodes, there'll be like the new favorite word we have, frameworks. There'll be new small little pieces that you can implement, and some things that we might be like, oh, here's this like really good new strategy you can do that really help you kind of jumpstart your day. If it's a morning routine thing, or if it's a checklist item, or how do you pre-plan, like this is the year goal, now this is how you break into quarters and weekly. But I think for today, it's a really good starting point for you can set out and you can start these things tomorrow, and it could be something really simple. You don't have to wait until January 1st of 26 to start any of this. So I think it's a good starting point.
Yeah, solid foundation. I challenge everybody who does listen, maybe even shoot me a message with some of your goals. I'd love to hear what they are, but they don't need to be these crazy year goals. Like, is there something you want to accomplish next week? Is there something you want to accomplish in 30 days? Something you want to do by July? A trip you want to plan? Like, whatever it is, like, just get it down on paper and like, let's talk about it. If you feel comfortable sharing your goals with me, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to tell you more about what I'm doing for my goals, and I'd like to hear about your, everybody's goals as well. So, and I think it's good to let people know what your goals are. That's something that we do within our team, and what that does is everybody kind of knows one or two goals that we're all working on, which allows us to hold each other accountable, which is also another important thing.
That was the point I was going to make. There was, by sharing it with us, you're going to make yourself accountable, because like, well, now I just share with Colton, so if I don't come through on it, he knows and I know, so it makes it that much harder to back out, if you will.
Exactly. Something we do, and this is the last point I'll add, is something we do with our team meetings is everybody has what we call like a personal rock, something they're trying to accomplish in the next 90 days. So every team meeting, we ask, how's that personal rock going, Chase or Garrett or whoever, and they have to tell us if they're on track or if they're off track. And if they're off track, we kind of give them a little nudge, say, hey, let's get back on track. Let's do what we're supposed to do. So something good there as well. Let people know what your goals are. You don't have to tell me what your goals are, but have that conversation with friends and family, people who care about you. They should be holding you accountable. You should be holding them accountable. That's another good way to help get your goals going. But yeah, I think we're good there. We're going to kind of wrap up today's episode. It was a lot about goals and just achieving what you want to do. If you want to follow me on Snapchat, if you want to add me there, Colton.Burt, Colton, Burt. Instagram is ColtonBurt19, and Facebook, just search me there. Otherwise, the username is also ColtonBurt19. And our website is thegrizzlylife.com. Check our stuff out there. Give us feedback on the website. Let us know what you think there. If you want to email us, support at, marketing at fitnessgrizzly.com is our email there. So if you have anything you want to email there, that is cool. And I will kick this over to Chase as well, but make sure you like this episode, share this episode, tell friends and family about it, whatever you can. We really appreciate you guys listening here. It's all organic here. It's a small episode, a small podcast setup. Do whatever you can to get the word out. If you found value in this episode, please share it. Do what you can. We're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably know that, but let everybody else know that as well. I'll let Chase close us out here. You can throw his socials in. But otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in.
For myself, I've got basically across everything, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. That'll be Chase Mastercola, excuse me. ChaseMastriCola. And like Colton mentioned, if you have any goals, especially on the fitness side, given that is usually the hugest hurdle that some people are trying to cross, a lot of people try to make it the most optimized and perfect thing possible. But if you're even just trying to get a foot through the door, shoot me a message as far as what even the first easy enough step is for that. And then we can kind of cross that bridge there for you. So shoot me any messages or questions you have about that. To any of those platforms there. And I think about does it for today. Thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.